This video covers notes page 3-4. So in 3-3, we solved our one-step equations with decimals, and now we will do them with fractions. You are allowed to use your calculators. So do this just the same as we would with the regular numbers, only now you'll have your fractions that you need to use. So our first one, we have n plus 1/4. So to get rid of plus 1/4, we need to minus 1/4 from both sides. Again, if that line helps you, then do that. So we have n equals, you need to do 5/6 minus 1/4. And that leaves us 7/12. So 7/12 is your answer for n. Again, to check, you would do 7/12 plus 1/4 and make sure it does give you 5/6, and it does. For 14, you need to add 3 2/3. So when we do our mixed numbers, it's the same. So add 3 2/3, add 3 2/3. So if you have a calculator with an ABC button, you'll just do 3 ABC2 ABC3. If you have a fraction button, you need to hit second fraction so that it gives you the mixed number. So 11/18 plus 3 2/3. Many of you, that's going to give you a mixed number. So x equals, it's 77/18, or if you have it as a mixed number, that would be 4 5/18. So I will take either the 77/18 or 4 5/18. Either one is fine. So again, you would plug that in, 4 5/18 minus 3 2/3, and make sure you get 11/18. Number 15 is our tricky one. We're adding, but we're adding a negative 1/8. So we need to add a positive 1/8 to get rid of that. Again, if it's easier to switch it, you can rewrite it as m minus 1/8 equals negative 7/24. All right, but either way, we need to add 1/8 to both sides. So negative 7/24 plus 1/8. And that should give us negative 1/6. So m equals negative 1/6. For 16, we're adding 8 1/2. So to get rid of add 8 1/2, I need to subtract 8 1/2. So that cancels that. We're left with a equals 5 1/3 minus 8 1/2. That would either give us negative 19/6 or negative 3 1/6. So either one is correct. Negative 19/6 as an improper fraction, or negative 3 1/6 as a mixed number. Now, this is one that technically your calculators can divide fractions, but we need to get in the habit of always multiplying by its reciprocal. So instead of dividing, we are going to multiply by the reciprocal, which means you flip it over. So for number 7, we have 2/3 x, so 2/3 times x. So to get rid of that, we are going to multiply by 3/2, because those 3's cancel and those 2's cancel, and that's how we're just left with x. So I multiplied by 3/2 on the left, which means I need to multiply by 3/2 on the right. So 48 times 3/2 gives me 72. And again, if you're going to check, you're going to type into your calculator 2 divided by 3 times 72. 2 divided by 3 times 72, and it does give us our 48 that it's supposed to. Number 18, I have negative 1/3 times W. So to get rid of our multiplication, normally we would divide, but we don't divide. We multiply by the reciprocal, which is negative 3/1. So those cancel and those cancel. That's how I have W. We need to multiply by negative 3/1, or just negative 3 if you have that figured out. So W equals negative 21. So again, you would type in negative 1 divided by 3 times negative 21 to make sure it gives us positive 7. Here we have negative 4/5 times K, so I need to multiply by negative 5/4 times negative 5/4. So it doesn't matter what order you put this in. You can do 60 times negative 5/4, or you can do negative 5/4 times 60 with multiplication. Remember, the order doesn't matter. But we should get K equals negative 75. So if you're going to check, negative 4 divided by 5 times negative 75 gives us 60, which is what we need it to give us. Number 20, 1/4 times P. So to get rid of times 1/4, we multiply by 4/1 times 4/1, which is just 4. So we get negative 36. Again, to get rid of times 2/3, we're going to multiply by 3/2. Multiply by 3/2. Those cancel. That's how I'm left with X. Negative 4/9 times 3/2 gives me another fraction, negative 2/3. You can actually divide by 2, or you can multiply by 1/2. That's up to you. Okay, so technically we can just divide by 2, divide by 2. So negative 1 1/3, that you need to type in as your mixed number. And then you can do divided by 2, and it should give you a fraction of negative 1/3. R equals negative 1/3. When you need to get rid of a mixed number, you need to change it to an improper fraction first. So in order to do that, you take the the front number times the bottom number, and then you add the top number. So 7 times 7 plus 4 gives me 53, and don't forget it goes still over that bottom 7. So 7 times 7 is 49, plus 4 gives me 53. It has to stay over 7, and then the V equals negative 106. Now I can multiply by the reciprocal to get rid of it. Okay, so first you need to change it to an improper fraction, then multiply by the reciprocal. So 7/53, 7/53. So negative 106 times 7/53 gives me negative 14. V equals negative 14. Now, when you plug it back in, you can use the 7 4/7 with your fraction button. So 7 ABC4 ABC7, or use your fraction button, times negative 14, and make sure it gives you negative 106, and it does. This one, you would simply multiply by 4/3. Okay, so get those to cancel. C equals times 4/3. So you can do negative 2 1/12 just as it is, times 4/3. This one's going to give you a fraction. It's either negative 2 5/9 or negative 23/9. So either of those would be correct. So for the most part, it's the exact same as just doing regular numbers or decimals. However, With fractions, when you need to get rid of a fraction that's being multiplied, we don't divide fractions, we multiply by the reciprocal.